big stories, massive updates surrounding keepers and attacking players. So my friends, I have to go through things at a very fast rate. Hit that like button and of course, make sure you guys watch my predicted lineup preview for our game tomorrow against West Ham. So without wasting any more time, let's start with things and let's talk Lukaku updates first. Is Lukaku set to complete his mission to become European football's most hated, disliked player? Well, it seems like his dreams may be coming true, my friends, because Tottenham now are a very strong option for Romelu. Now today, Al Hilal have signed Mitrovic for £46 million from Fulham, and as we know, they had a bid waiting behind the scenes for Lukaku, but that's been on standby for time because Lukaku has tried to engineer a move now to Juventus, which we found out today as well too. The deal involving Vlahovic and Lukaku is now over. That's not going to happen, and currently, how many options left are there for Lukaku? Well, Tottenham have entered the race and they've had small talks around Lukaku and his availability. Now, his wages are putting them off, but in typical Spurs fashion, they are getting rejected by players left, right and centre. Kolo Muani said, no, I'm not going to sign for you, and it seems like he's set now to sign for Paris Saint-Germain. So, more talks are expected to develop between Lukaku and Spurs, and if you're a Spurs fan, you have a player that guarantees you experience, guarantees you goals, and he suits Spurs' new attacking style as well. So all I'm saying is I hope we don't undersell this guy because Tottenham need a striker. I hope we give these guys a Spurs tax because I'm sorry, they can't be signing our guys for less money even though we don't need Lukaku. And Lukaku, I don't know what you did this summer, man. You've jeopardized your entire career before the Euros too. What happened to you? Like, what have you done? It makes no sense. But now you're set to pay the price for these mistakes you made this summer, my friends. So that's the latest surrounding Lukaku out of the way. So now I want to start discussing the exciting stories, and we turn our attention to Jeremy Doku of Stade Rennes because, my friends, French reports have said this, and now Fabrizio Romano has confirmed the fact that we are potentially set to hijack Man City's move to sign Jeremy Doku. Now, allegedly, Man City have agreed a 5-year deal with Doku. However, L'Equipe state that no agreement yet is finalized. Maybe these are all verbals that have been confirmed at this point in time. However, there is an opportunity for us to come in there and try and entice the player to sign for us. It has been heavily reported that we are the club set to rival Man City to sign Doku, and in my opinion, this would be a spectacular move to pull off. Now, I have to say, in terms of like attacking options in the market, my lord, there's an absolute abundance of stars you can sign right now, but I would say that Doku is like top tier, cream of the top type of talents you can get. I'm going to give you guys an explanation as to why. And for you guys that have watched me over the years, I did a video discussing like top talents to watch out for in the Euros like a few years back. And Doku was one of my star guys that I was heavily telling you guys to get onto. And it's no surprise to me that at 21 years old, he has now confirmed himself to be one of Europe's best young wingers. And his recent performance against Metz and Rennes' 5-1 win. I mean, this guy completed like what, 9 dribbles, 100% completion rate, 4 shots on goal, pressures like crazy. It was like nearly a complete performance here. Had a very high rating at the end of that game. And what separates Doku from other wingers, in my opinion, is that this guy is like the definition of explosiveness. And Mbappe said to his father, he hasn't seen a player recently that has the ability to start from a standing position and show this much power and explosiveness. But this is like the definition of Doku's game. Not only does he have this, he knows how to use his pace. He can play on the left-hand side, the right-hand side. He can dribble and take shots with either foot. He is stupidly explosive in those first few meters. And to be fair with you, I'm going to give you guys the Willian comparisons. Now, as fans, we saw what Willian could do when it came to accelerating from standing positions. We saw that last season when he played against us too. I'd have to say, maybe Doku might be just slightly even faster than Willian, and Willian was pretty incredible when it came to that skill. Now, Doku can play as a wide forward, a winger, and play centrally too. He can cut inside, he can play on the outsides, and he has the footwork and close control to match the explosiveness and the pace. It's a very rare combination. In my opinion, the guy's a bit of a cheat code. It's no surprise why Man City want him, and he's one of those guys for me that plays the game at like 110% intensity, where like some players are just blessed with that, in my opinion. And to be fair with you, to end things, I'd have to feel like we might be slight favourites to sign him, no? Like, not only is Ugo Chukwu now with us, we've signed one of his boys in Romeo Lavia, but I'm going to say this. I feel like if he was to sign for Man City, Pep is going to strip this guy's minerals down to the bare basic efficiency limits, you know? Like, look at Jack Grealish, the guy who used to thrive in chaos. Now the guy literally is in the team now to win fouls for Man City. Like, I understand you want to find success, but Doku, don't you want to sign for a club with like-minded players around you at a very young age playing an electric, exciting style of football where the manager won't be throwing a million instructions at you, stripping your game down to like efficiency levels? Like, you can do a lot more than that, and I think you could absolutely explode if you sign for us. So that's the latest around Jeremy Doku. Now we discuss new signing news, and are we finally set to sign a goalkeeper? Well, based on reports, it seems that the case, because it seems like we are now close to signing New England goalkeeper in Petrovic. And I have to say, massive shout out goes to Chicago Dimitri. If you guys know him on Twitter, this guy's been raving about him for like a year plus. So an incredible call from you. And even though it was believed that a fee between like 11.8 million would be enough to sign Petrovic, it does seem like we are getting closer now to finding a final package of around 50 million in total. Now, Petrovic is seen as the best goalkeeper in the MLS. And when you see this guy's game, you can fully understand why. He's 6'4", super athletic, very physical. And one thing I like about this guy is that he is always light on his feet, because he does this really intelligent thing with his goalkeeping skills here where he doesn't rush to save shots, he bides his time. So for example, as he's analysing where the shot might come from outside the box, he follows a run in the movement of the player that's about to take a shot. But here's what he does that's special, because he will wait until the last final moments before he makes a save, because he trusts his frame. He trusts his timing. His anticipation levels are crazy. And when you combine that technique with your frame, because the guy's a huge guy and he knows that, and he uses that to his skill set very well, and it's very good at closing down those angles from shots, right? And I kind of feel like it gets in the strikers' heads, because this guy's like post-shot goal saving record is like he's overachieving it by a country distance in the MLS. And I get it, because like it's a bit imposing if you're like throwing goal, about to take a shot, and the keeper isn't really like giving you like, okay, can I hit the ball to the left, because the keeper now is like slightly to the right hand side. Petrovic doesn't allow for that. He will stay there until the final moments. But on top of like great shot stopping, this guy is very strong from claiming crosses. Of course, he is comfortable leaving his box when he has to. I think his distribution is decent, and he has like a very accurate long throw which kickstarts many counterattacks. Now, I'm not going to stand here and act like an absolute expert on goalkeepers, but I like the fact that I can rely upon my keeper to make saves in the big moments. And does he stand out in the big games? But as I said, I'm no expert. But for this type of price it's worth the gamble, because even if he doesn't live up to the goods, you can sell this guy on quite easily and then reinvest in signing an even better keeper for next summer. So I like this move. A lot of people have like sworn by this guy, and I find it really fascinating. So now let's move on to even more fascinating news surrounding attacking players. And this one was a surprising one, because we are now linked with Balogun, of course, the star dream lone striker that did wonders in Ligue 1 last season, currently owned by Arsenal. Now, I'm going to say this real quick here, but I think it's quite obvious in terms of all the attacking players that we're recently talking about. It's not fake news. It's clearly about the short list of attacking players we're looking at right now, and these are the options that are slowly being revealed. Balogun scored 22 goals for Stade Reims last season. Monaco have had a bid turned down of around 34 million currently, but Fulham and Monaco are actively trying to get a deal done. Now, we've made no formal bids right now, but we have held like talks and conversations first. I find this story so interesting because, my friends, I'd have to say that I think Wahi is a better type of player. I say even guys like Openda, who's now moved to RB Leipzig, he's a better profile of this type of striker that Balogun is. And I say this because like Stade Reims played a super direct style of football where they didn't really have possession. They kept a mid-block. They looked to press really well, stay compact, and constantly play direct balls in behind and over the top to find their strikers. So if you're Balogun, if you're a pace merchant, you should have some fun, no? And even though this guy does display like very intelligent movement in behind, like he's constantly in between two centre-backs, he can curve his runs, he can time them from deep. He scored like from a lot of these like 1v1 areas, but I'd still even say that maybe his finishing tech could improve a bit more and add like more versatility to that side of his game. I'd also say too that maybe his first touch can be a little bit iffy at times, and it slightly takes him a bit wider away from the goal, more than he has to. But at the same time, the guy works really well, which is like, I think it's such a basic thing in football that does it even really impress you that much that players can press hard off the ball? I like to think not. But then another thing that works against him, in my opinion, is we're not a star dream team. Like, we're going to play against compact defenses that will sit deep, yeah? And if your link-up play and build-up isn't necessarily levels, you're going to kill and ruin a lot of counter-attacks. You're going to give those counter-attacking opportunities to our opposition. So I think the guy has talent, but for me, the fact that Arsenal prefer to keep Eddie Nketiah, who for me is a better version of Balogun right now because he has more to his game overall, especially in terms of like the dribbling department too, which I think Balogun is very one-dimensional in those regards. I understand why we're looking at him, but honestly, I don't think he's a move. And I think it would be a massive insult to guys like Datro Fofana, where it's like, bro, if Fofana was playing for most of these clubs that we're linked to their strikers with, this guy would be absolutely cooking and he'd be worth a lot more money now. So that's the Balogun reports out the way, and we end things with another big story. And we have more Ivan Fresneda links. Now, I spoke about this kid like a few weeks back, and I felt like there'd be more reports to come because the story was too fascinating and we're getting some incredible context now. Right now, Fresneda has been patiently waiting for like Barcelona to make a move, but as we knew back then, Barca have been trying to sign Cancelo for Man City, and Cancelo is very close now to signing for Barcelona, which now has frustrated Fresneda. Now, Real Madrid haven't made any concrete moves right now, and Valladolid now are in the second division in the Spanish league because they got relegated last season. So due to that, there is a 20 million release clause. Barca made an initial 8 million bid plus bonuses, but that was rejected. But Valladolid would accept 10 million plus bonuses, which works in our favour. Now, it's quite obvious that if we plan to sign him, he's going to get loaned straight out immediately. And we have to understand that this is now part of the club's new transfer model, as we'll probably loan him to one of our network clubs, or maybe other clubs that we're hoping to sign players from in the future. But for me, Fresneda, for all you FM merchants, you know this guy is like absolute levels. And I think when you see the kid too, 18, 19, he's an absolute brick at his age. And he's very powerful. He's very skillful. I like this guy's tech. I like his like little drag backs that he uses, because he knows that if he does a drag back, he has the frame and power and upper body strength to, you know, keep that ball against anyone. He is someone that can invert in midfield when you have to. He can make those overlaps. You know, he can beat you for pace, beat you for footwork, and he's a very good cross with the ball as well too. Like, he is like the prototypical type of right back we're looking for right now, and to have him as part of our network makes a lot of sense at this very affordable fee. Because let's keep things real, I'm going to use the example of Pedro Porro, who went to Spurs for like over 40 million last season. Obviously, he came from Man City's academy, and he probably had the talent, of course, to play for City, but they cashed him big time, of course. And I think we could do the same thing, because if Fresneda still bangs out on loan, but Gusto and Reece James are still levels, we could be making an absolute profit for nothing if we sign him for like around 10 million plus euros. I mean, come on. That is great business. And the bonus is we have the opportunity to even turn to like a quality right back player in the future if anything happens to a Reece James or a Malo Gusto. I'd imagine that this guy might get like maybe a 2 to 3 year loan before he gets fully assessed. Give this guy a long-term contract to keep him at this club for time, so we have all the patience and time in the world to fully assess him. And obviously, knowing how we do business, we could easily cash in on someone like this in the future, flip him on and reinvest those funds into signing a bigger player. And that's the beauty behind this model, even though it's a bit controversial, and obviously not everyone has to agree with this type of business. But Fresneda looks like a talent. I know you guys have seen what he's doing on screen. Like, the mix of everything is really fascinating in my opinion. And if Madrid and Barca are lacking right now, let's take advantage, because reports state that now we have a running now, one of the favourites to get him signed and wrapped up. So my friends, they are the latest big stories that have dropped. Share your thoughts and opinions, and of course, make sure you guys watch my predicted lineup video for the game tomorrow. Links below, and of course, how can I forget as well, if you still want to buy any merch and kits for this season, kits have dropped right now. You're going to find links in the card above and description below. So my friends, I'm the EFC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some more videos on match day. Cool.